Film Festival here at the Everyman, where of course Charlie played a number of times. We're thrilled to see that the committee has produced a wonderful replication here of the poster or the ticket from when Charlie played at the Cork Palace of Varieties. In fact, my dad, who's 93, and he was born in the city, remembers coming to see Charlie Chaplin films here when he was a boy. And it's amazing to look around and see the youngsters here today, nearly 100 years later, wearing Charlie Chaplin hats and imitating that extraordinary shape of his. You only have to take off, spread the legs, bend the knees, whip the hand, and you've created a legend that everybody immediately recognises. He made us laugh, he made us think, he made us cry, and the films still stand up as phenomenal works of both comedic art, of skill, brilliant timing, and wonderful invention, and sometimes a profound thought. One of my personal favourites being The Great Dictator, which still remains one of the most radical films ever made, and as we all know, was way ahead of its time in terms of recognising what Chaplin saw was coming along from a certain direction. But today we're thrilled to have you all here and to launch this fantastic festival, beautifully organised each year. And I'll hand over to Dennis Fenton, one of the committee members, who's going to tell you a little bit more about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Now, I'm deputising for the great Miko. Miko had to go away at short notice, so I have a hard act to follow. I don't have any All-Ireland medals or anything like that, but we'll do the best. Now, what I'm going to do for you is just read the press release that has been made available, and hopefully will update you all on what is going to happen in this year's Charlie Chaplin Comedy Film Festival. Of course, I'll start off with a quote from Charlie himself, and he says, "A day without laughter is a day wasted," and I think that's very true today. Now, excuse me. As most of you will know, Waterville is at the centre of the Ring of Kerry, and it's where Charlie Chaplin holidayed with his family for about roughly a decade. Now, our village honours and celebrates the life and work of Charlie Chaplin through the Charlie Chaplin Comedy Film Festival. Now, this year we are delighted to launch our third annual film festival here at the Everyman Palace Theatre in McCurtain Street, of course. Now, the festival spans four days, featuring an international film competition with categories in comedy and social commentary. Events include master classes, acting and animation workshops, premieres, Charlie Chaplin screenings, film discussion panels, and so on. Now, we also have Chaplin street entertainers. The winners of the film competition are awarded a Charlie statue made of local Valentia slate. Now, we're delighted, of course, that Fawcett Circus returns with their big top again, adding to the carnival feel of this special event and providing a unique and spectacular venue which will host many events, including the Tramps Ball and, of course, the 1920s themed party as well. There are great live comedy acts, film screenings and live scores and many more. So I advise you all, those of you that don't know it already, we have a website. It's www.chaplinfilmfestival.com, and follow us on Facebook as well. So thank you all for joining us here at the theatre this evening and helping us launch our festival for this coming year. Now, I'd like to ask Charles O'Brien from Fawcett Circus maybe just to say a few words.
Good afternoon, and on behalf of Fawcett's, may I welcome you all here to the Everyman Palace. Just apologies, the Fawcett family would love to be here, but as Murphy's Law has it, today's the day that we're building the tent for the very first time in 2013, so they're up to their neck in mud. In Clane, as I speak, so something that anyone who's been in the Waterville Festival for the last 2 years will be more than painfully familiar. Chaplin was one of cinema's great clowns, indeed he was one of the world's great clowns, so it's very, very apt that the Chaplin Film Festival in Waterville takes place in a circus tent. As far as we know, and speaking to Barry Norman last year, it's unique in that we don't know of any other film festival whose main venue is a circus tent. And as I said, I'm quite sure the great man himself would see the irony indeed and the aptness of that. The Fawcett family, when we contacted the festival 2 or 3 years ago before they started, we hoped that we might be involved for 1 year. We were delighted to be involved with Chaplin. In fact, it's turned into a 3-year life. And as far as we're concerned, as long as the Chaplin Film Festival will be there, Fawcett's will be there.
Thank you very much, Charles, and we certainly look forward to having you again this year, and for 20 and maybe more. I'll ask Kevin Whelan now as well, who's involved with Irish Autism Action, to speak, because without giving all the details, both our Fawcett's, the Charlie Chaplin Comedy Film Festival and Autism Ireland, we're going to be involved in a project later on in the year. So Kevin, I'll ask you to say a few words.
Thanks very much. I'm a Mullingar man, so I'm not Cork or Kerry, but my mum is from Valentia Island. So it was great to hear that the Charlies are using Valentia Slate, so thanks very much for that. I mentioned that to my mother. The other thing to say is that children with autism derive huge enjoyment from visual comedy, and communication difficulties are a significant barrier for children with autism. So the comedy of Charlie Chaplin is something that appeals greatly to them. And we saw an obvious connection then with the group, the foundation and so on. And interestingly enough, Brendan O'Carroll, who people will know as Mrs. Brown, is actually funding research to examine the benefits of visual comedy and how it helps children with autism. So there's lots and lots of connections, and I'd say Brendan O'Carroll would be delighted that I mentioned him in the same breath as Charlie Chaplin. So he owes me one for that. But just to say that we're honoured, privileged. We know how important the memory and the legacy is, and if we end up doing something with you, we assure you that we will respect, honour and treasure that legacy, and we look forward to working with the foundation, with the group and with Fawcett's going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. We're nearly finished. I'd like to thank Rose Green here, who came this evening as well, who's involved with Board Fáilte, who doesn't want to say anything at the moment. So we thank you, Rose, at the moment for coming and joining us as well. I don't think we have anything else.